Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is SockBot, and today I want to talk about ass. Hats. Buckle up because I've been waiting to make those jokes for like 10 videos now. Anyways, I wanted to talk about these things that make your level look better, play better, seem more cohesive, and also save you a heck of a lot of time while you're creating. Again, those things are your assets. So if you're interested in those, well, feel free to like my assets down below and also subscribe to see more of my assets in the future. And buckle up because we are just getting started. So, I've talked about assets in past videos, but more recently I had a fantastic moment when I was working on my Christmas themed level. It made me want to talk about them again and all of the things that they can do for your game, but before I get all up in those assets, I will define what they are for anyone that is new here or anyone that's new to game design in general. If you are new here, you'll quickly learn that our sources are reliable, current, and primary, and that they have been verified and peer-reviewed by multiple external sources to confirm their validity. Likewise, entirely random user Steve Theodore from Quora.com defines an asset as developer slang for models, textures, maps, and audio. And in all honesty, that was supposed to be a joke, but apparently random Quora user Steve Theodore is actually a Forbes published writer and game developer who has worked in the business for like 20 years. But hopefully the joke still landed. Or at least I tried. At any rate, if you have created any sort of level or game in your lifetime, you've created assets. Sexy, sexy assets. So yes, assets in your games are all of your sounds, music, maps, and textures, e.g. the materials you choose if you're playing Little Big Planet. But I want to talk about the objects and terrain assets that you create, and more importantly, the ones that you repeat. Most creators, myself included, make games from beginning to end, jumping right into the starting area and kind of moving forward from there. And this is even the process that I recommend pretty consistently in my videos, and it's the process that I was using in my Christmas themed level. If you haven't seen much of that level, by the way, because I'm going to be talking about it a lot, the TLDR is you play as a kid on Christmas who is shrunken down to mouse size, and you have to traverse through a plethora of Christmas ornaments that each act as platforming segments to get to the top of the Christmas tree to revert back to kid size. Again, that was the TLDR. Now, from the beginning, I wanted to include as many unique ornaments in this level as possible, but that quickly caused a problem when I was creating new assets for every single section. Because of this, 15-ish hours into creating the level, I had maybe 2 minutes of gameplay, and it started to really take a toll on my enthusiasm for the level. I thought to myself in various forms, all of the assets looked really cool, but what did it matter if the player only saw them for 15 seconds each playthrough? And most people would only play it once. Well, in a push to follow my own advice, I decided to reuse some of the assets from each ornament and create different versions of them. So that's Santas with different beards, ball ornaments that had been shattered in different ways, and snow globes that contained different challenges, and this instantly brought new life into my level, and I was very happy about that. Following this, I decided to create a detailed and interesting background that would go behind each zoomed in version of each ornament, and it turned out beautifully. It's essentially the same background, rotated and resized, but all of things considered, it did end up looking way better than the one-off backgrounds that I had been creating for each ornament individually before I did this. To me, all of these updates made the time I spent detailing these intricate ornaments totally worth it. By repeating the assets for multiple sections, it felt like they actually got their screen time, and it also allowed me to pick the best ornaments of the bunch to be included in the level rather than just putting in subpar ones just for the sake of diversity. So, look-wise, yeah, it definitely enhanced my level. But SockBot, how could you make your level play better too? If you're making obstacles less diverse, doesn't that mean your level is more boring? Well, hold on there, Carry Keyboard. I don't know why I did all those hand motions, but I didn't say this made my obstacles less diverse at all. Just because I did save time by not creating every single ornament from scratch doesn't mean that I didn't create different gameplay sections in each. Reusing these assets actually let me explore the possibilities of each ornament more than I originally intended to, because I wasn't just limited to one section or one piece of gameplay per asset. The successive Santas, for example, that should be a band name, have sections where you're tunneling through his curly beard, and then sections where you're climbing on the surface of his beard. The snow globes and the shattered balls, or the shattered Christmas balls, that didn't help, did it? They have puzzle and platforming sections now. Where's the lesson here? Well, one, by using and reusing your assets, you have more time to explore the possibilities for gameplay concerning those assets, which, two, also gives you more time to experiment with crazy possibilities for gameplay, since you're not spending all of your time creating new assets. Now, I was going to talk about this later, but since I just mentioned it right there, this really does save you time. I'm not saying that we're lazy creators, but saving time when creating is always good. I talk about this concept all the time, but very quickly, saving time in creation encourages more people to create, which in turn increases diversity and creations, and this diversity provides all creators with more inspiration to create. It's a wonderful circle of love and creativity, and oh my gosh, I get it now. I get everything that Stephen Fry was talking about in his intros for Little Big Planet. Oh, they make so much more sense now. Anyways, before my big revelation and the following major changes that I made to my level, I also noticed that the level was feeling somewhat disjointed. From watching people play my levels previously, one weird thing that I noticed is that players actually enjoy some sense of repetition. Way back in one of my first videos, I talked about this technique of recreating an obstacle a few times in a row, with each successive version increasing in difficulty, but using essentially the same mechanics. This was an early suggestion that I aimed at helping new creators, and it is, in itself, a representation of reusing assets. So when I began repeating assets in this level, it became less and less disjointed. Obviously, this can go too far, but this led me to the conclusion that the polar opposite of overly repetitive when it goes too far is disjointed, and you have to find a happy medium. Seriously though, the second that I started to playtest multiple ornaments that use the same assets, I noticed that the level felt way more cohesive, and this also led me to more or less abandon the framing device that I intended to use far more throughout the level. That's the smaller version of the house that you would return to between the ornaments. And that made the level flow even better, and honestly solved a huge amount of problems that were taking up all of my creating time anyways. And in the end, I went from begrudgingly forcing myself to finish this level that was months old to regaining my confidence and excitement for that level, and this was all for a level that, again, I've been trying to finish for months. Hours at a time. Anyways, I hope my story will encourage you to look for any of these problems while you're creating. Going in with the intention to create assets that you will for sure reuse has the potential to really increase the quality of your level visually and gameplay-wise, all the while keeping that sense of progression that really makes game creation so satisfying. Now, this isn't to say it can't be overdone, because like I said, you can definitely create an overly repetitive game, but it is something that I remind myself of that consistently helps when I'm creating. Likewise, I want to end on my TLDR advice for this video / final dirty joke. Use your assets to their full potential, but don't overuse them. Or alternatively, everyone will take seconds and thirds of a nice set of assets, but even the nicest assets get boring if you're not mixing it up. Either of those will work, and you can bet that if I ever sell t-shirts, I will definitely put those quotes on them. Or at least one of them. Regardless, I hope you all are doing well. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, but no pressure as always. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon. But for now, goodbye! Oh god, these intros are getting more and more cringy. Cringe Fest 2K19. Let's rent out a house for that. We can rent out a beach house to go to Cringe Fest 2K19. Bye guys.